Good evening, good evening, good evening. How y'all doing? Welcome to another session of the African Speaks. Let me quickly do some tech support right here. So we get this tech support up and going. We're working out all the kinks. Yes, we are running off schedule tonight. Again, there's another night, another situation, another circumstance where the individual invited couldn't make it. Ain't that something? The individual invited could make it, and this would have been a great conversation. So, the African had to punt, and so this particular conversation that we're going to have tonight is going to be beautiful. So I can't wait. But before that, let's do some social media interaction and marketing. Please be on the lookout for all of our future programs. All right, we got the Garvey games coming up. I got a conversation to call that I got to make right after this show. What I'm trying to tell you, what we got for the Garvey games is international. It is huge, it is big, it's going to be beautiful. So if you have a 501c3 and you're looking to raise real money, if you have a 501c3 and you looking to raise some real money, hit me up at info at woaatl.org. I got a project for you and trying to tell you it's going to blow your mind. So all 501c3s in our community, whether we in the state or not in the state, it doesn't matter what state you in. We got something going with the Garvey games that will sit down and take the black community to a whole nother level when it comes to fundraising. So if you have a 501c3, you're looking to raise money, hit the brother up. I got you. The next one is Roots and Culture, African History class. We're going to try to get that up and running this Saturday, as well as African Spirituality class. We're going to have to do some, we're doing some homework. Uh, I have 4 months worth of data saved and everything saved. And of course, I had a visitor come in and break my USB, break a USB. Was sticking outside the computer and they knee hit it and it snapped. They needed to do some work. They needed to use the PC and as they were working on the computer needing to use the resources I have, it broke. So I'm not tripping, but we work it out. AfriStream, we got AfriStream coming for you. I'm checking out a video tonight, and we're gonna be advertising tomorrow heavily for Wednesday nights. Okay, so this one should be a good one. And don't forget Akiba Land Inspirational Sunday. It's always a beauty. And so what we always say that if you're watching us on Facebook, please like, comment, share. And let us get this word out, and so that we can move forward and allow the African in you to speak. If there's some topics that you want us to hit on, or individuals got something to say, let the African in you speak. This is an open floor. And if you ever watch us on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button and hit the bell. So every time we go live, it doesn't matter which segment that we're on, you'll always be there to grab that information. Now, also, for those who are always watching on our Facebook, our community page, World of Akiba Land, is our website. It's our youth program. Go to the World of Akiba Land homepage, scroll down to the middle of the screen, and you will see the donate button. That's WOAATL.org. Tonight's conversation, wow, we're still at it. We are still at it. We are talking about the revolution inside the revolution. The revolution inside the revolution. Now, this one is serious. This one is called guerrilla warfare. Now, again, there was someone that was supposed to come on and we would have had a great conversation and we would have heard about another program that's existing inside a greater struggle. Right? And that's the revolution inside the revolution. There's so many different layers that we could discuss in terms of a revolution being inside a revolution, and it goes on many levels. And so I wanted to have a talk about a program that manifests itself from another program. I actually invited two people. One person responded and he was supposed to be up here, and then he had another engagement. He said, brother, I'm not ready yet. So I laughed. Black man, you always ready. In my book, I see what you're doing. So you're always ready. So I had to punt and come up with another conversation. Now, this thing about guerrilla warfare, I repurposed the way I put this information together. Right. And again, the spirit sometimes hits you. When something happens, you got to learn how to punt. You got to learn how to move. You got to learn how to shift. You got to go according to what's happening. Sometimes you cannot control the environment. Wow, guerrilla warfare. You can't control what happens on a live show. It doesn't happen on a live show. People coming in, they're validating. Spoke to them just before we were good. Then at the last minute, boom. So now in the terrain of live streaming, you got to be able to punt. You got to be able to make a move. And so I switched gears because there's always something to speak about. And when I'm dealing with the revolution inside the revolution, and I said I wanted people who would not, who has an unbridled tongue, can speak to the work that they putting in on behalf of black people because there's a lot going on. So I said, yo, let's repurpose the concept of guerrilla warfare. Now this is something, if anybody from the pan that, oh, let me set this up from a church because they need to hear it too. And so we're gonna put this out there. This is, and because we always talk about technology, right? And in our community, the conversation about technology is like upfront, but the importance of technology, you can't always get that. They don't always understand the importance of utilizing technology in today's world, communicating in technology in today's world, and then how to actually package it together so it looks great. You can't speak on the liberation of black people. You can't speak on black supremacy, or not even supremacy, but black superiority for ourselves. We're equal to every being if you don't display it. Now, I'm not going to say I'm perfect because nobody is, but I give y'all my best. I give, even in a situation where things may fall apart, I still give you my best. And so in this space, we're going to talk about guerrilla warfare technology. And yo, I saw my man Mike Ben. I'm giving you a shout out, brother. We about to make some moves, man. I can't even talk about that on this show, but one love, Mike Ben. Yeah, we ready. And so in the scenario of guerrilla warfare, learning how to use technology to manifest the things that you want, the things that you need. It's not the same. That the terrain has changed. How you go about success in your life and in your focus is completely different than it used to be. It's not the same. So how are you going to sit down and mask up where you can move forward? Because you know that we live in a world that really does not promote the upliftment of a black community, black race, only certain individuals. And now, even as an individual, you got to look and say, how do I take what's around me and use it to my benefit? And in the art of guerrilla warfare, it's a small group utilizing the terrain around them as an advantage against an enemy. A small group utilizing the terrain around them to take an advantage of their enemy. Ain't that something? Guerrilla warfare. What else is technology? Now, we've been for the last couple of weeks inside of a a revolution inside a revolution. And well, let me speak about this because I can do this. Cause Mike Ben, one love. Y'all, I don't know if y'all know, but DaAfrican is also in a sketch comedy show. We've been doing it for what 7 years, Mike? 7 years, my brother. And so we talking about leadership, timing, technology, and leadership inside the revolution. Timing, technology, and leadership. And timing meaning looking at the current event and taking advantage of what is available in that current event. Technology is just a means of being able to give and take. You know what I'm saying? At one point, technology for communication was a newspaper. So you would have newspapers actually being able to communicate with each other via a set. So you would write a newspaper, everybody would read the newspaper, right? Everybody would, or you would have pamphlets that go out. Extra, extra, read all about it. You see the movies with the kids standing on the corner. That was the technology of their time, print. And there came a moment where technology started moving past print. How do you reach? your clientele. Because when social media came in, most individuals or most organizations ran from it, but organizations with real vision utilize the ability to access the customer directly. Utilized the instrument of technology to access your customer directly. And that took leadership. When you had an issue, while everybody was sitting down, doing what they was doing, I'm trying to figure out how to master it. I saw it, I'm trying to figure out how to master it because I know this is the next level. And it's not the last level. Let's get this, because it's gonna change again. It's going to change, but how is it going to change is important too. But we're not going to talk about that, right? But what we want to talk about is, let me go back to it. When it comes to building a better and stronger community, the revolution inside the revolution. What is guerrilla warfare? What is guerrilla warfare in today's era? And so I got to be careful as I step through this, because I didn't get to set this up the way I wanted to, but this is going to be very informative in terms of how your spirit accesses technology. Think about it. It's not how you physically access technology, but how you allow your spiritual energy to access technology, because technology now is energy. And the energy you use, if you don't think that you're going to succeed, you're not going to succeed. But if you have a sense of belief and you start using this technology, it's going to change your life. Now, what's been happening in the economic of America, because you got more millionaires being developed now than more ever before. And so what the Republicans tried to do under Trump was they tried to cut real access to the internet, because individuals are coming out of class creating wealth, and they can't stop it, because now you have an access of multiple billion, millions and billions of people via the internet without even borders. This makes you borderless. So how does guerrilla warfare come into play? Meaning that you got to look at your terrain. What? You got to look at the environment. You got to sit down and say, what do I have at my disposal that I can use as a weapon or as a means to move my agenda and my process forward? What is that? And so when you're talking about the liberation of black people, and you're talking about Black Lives Matter, you're talking about the way we say it in the world of Akibaland, planting a better seed to get a better harvest. Meaning that we want better communities. I mean, we got to raise our kids better. And so, I created this particular concept. Let me take that back, because I got to give it up to the ancestors that came and gave it to me. This particular understanding was delivered to me back in 2014. In 2014, I had to pause because things was moving fast in 2000. Now, I was dealing with technology, and at that time, I was like, man, I can't tell you what I was, but I was killing it out there in the secular world financially. But then something said there was something missing, because I was the only one moving, and individuals around me was eating. Yo, Eric Salcedo, One Love, we were eating well, and I got another project coming to Texas. Got you, right? So now in this shape, and I gotta be careful as I step, because I don't want the video to go too fast or too slow when I drop this particular video. When I find it, where did I put it? I put it right there. So we're gonna sit down and we're gonna go here, and we don't want to I know it was gonna go too fast, right? So we're gonna go back, back, pause. Nope, back one. All right. So the world's technology is now ready to support the concept of a global, borderless, Pan-African community. Let's say that again. Back in 2000, I was like at the end of 13, early 14, in the mid of 14, because took me a time to actually come up with build it where it was a PowerPoint presentation, and I was able to present it to the community. At that time, I was designing mobile apps. Yes, I was designing mobile apps, and I paused to design mobile apps because the mobile app we designed was amazing. And this was the concept that I created behind the mobile app. And I said, Marcus Garvey came to me one night, along with a man called Jeremoja Bebe Adziman, and all the leadership, the Pan African Orthodox Christian Church that had transitioned over. I saw myself sitting in a room, And they say, yo, you need to help them understand what technology can do. He said because in his time he had a train. You feel me? He had boats. Marcus Garvey had to literally travel all over the world to access black people everywhere. And he created the largest black organization on the face of this planet since. Nobody's come closer. Not because we didn't have the availability to reach each other, but it was because we didn't have the passion that he did. And that's real. It's about passion. He believed that he was called to deliver black people to a higher level of living, understanding of who you are. When you say there has been nobody, no leader, real leader in the black community that was not influenced, that is not influenced by Marcus Garvey and the concepts of Marcus Garvey. And that's real. And so when I got to understanding that, he says, you want 6 million people under one umbrella? So you have to embrace technology. So because the way technology is run now, we can communicate to each other directly, but it takes heart. Now the reason why it's not worked completely when it comes to conscious minded individuals because one, conscious minded individuals have not made an effort or believe that there is a spiritual obligation that they have to do three things: like, comment, share. That's it. Because in guerrilla warfare, if I switch back, I got to be ready. In guerrilla warfare, it's the algorithm that's important. In guerrilla warfare, when it comes to you moving your agenda forward, regardless what it is, it's the algorithm when it comes to using the technology of today. It is the consistency. It is being there, and that's why I said I apologize for not making it at 7. But I stream. I said regardless whether or not, and what messed up my consistency was leaning. And people get mad because the African will, I'll do what I can do on my own. Now, if I invite you in to do it with me, that's one thing. And if you don't make it, I got to continue. At one point, I had to stop. But I said, I got to continue because what happened was my guerrilla warfare, the planning of guerrilla warfare to continue because we were building in numbers well. But the inconsistency shifts the algorithm. And when the algorithm shifts, you can't reach as many people as you hoped. And so that is clear. The conscious mind individuals have to do three things. We're going to do more than three things. Like, comment, share, subscribe, click the bell, all of it. And that creates an experience where it begins to move your data, your information to other individuals that may look alike. Technology is the guerrilla warfare of our time. And y'all see, I tell you straight up, they like, oh, black people and apes. I don't care what you say. I'm a lion and my animal. I'm a lion and I'm a gorilla. It depends. And then at certain other times, I would always say Rottweiler, but I'm like, nah, I'm not no, I would never say. I would always say German Shepherd. You know what I mean? But I don't like what they use the German Shepherds for when it come to black people. So, but I used to be like I'm a guard dog. My man Mike Ben says he's a pit bull because he's pit bull. But it's good. But this is guerrilla warfare. What dreams are you hoping to have and manifest? How are you trying to do it? And when you got a world that is fighting against you to get there. Now, most of the time, in terms of a European society, they don't care that we have full access to all the information that we've ever had. They don't care. Why? Because they believe that we are so conditioned that only very few of us will utilize technology for the development of our communities. Let's get that straight. Very few of us will use technology for the development of our communities. No disrespect. I see some of them in my own community that will not sit down and take this seriously. This is the vehicle needed to move black community forward. You can connect to leader, community leader to community leader to community leader. You can youth program after youth program after youth program. This is that conversation. Guerrilla warfare. How do you use tech? What is the guerrilla warfare of our time? It is definitely technology. And as Marcus Garvey said, it is, I don't want to go too fast because every time I put it, because that's a video. It was a video that I was speaking to. And I got to make sure that it should be no sound to the video. It should just be something that streams. Right. And so that's important. That part is deeply, deeply important to make sure we're going to make drop down because I have a couple of doing some technical riffs, making sure that the other video that I have coming up doesn't have any sound to it. And we're gonna hopefully that it doesn't move. We're gonna make sure we move that. But in this space where the world's technology has meet to be able to support the concept of a borderless Pan-African community, meaning that you could create an umbrella. Example, we have something in Atlanta called the Black Slate. One day I sat down and I put everybody that I knew under 18 years, at 18 and older, inside of a group called the Black Slate ATL when we had to do it was politics, and this was for during the Obama, was it the Obama administration? Believe it was, right? Believe it was, when we were putting the vote out. And so we do local votes and we do the national votes, right? And so I'm speaking to an older generation saying, hey, I need each one of you to choose 25 of your friends to put in this group, because there's everybody that you know should be in this voting group, everybody who's 18. So if you want to actually get to people, other than that, the old technologies to do what? Stand on a corner and pass out a flyer. And so at early in that morning when they got up, the older generation got up to go out to the corners to pass out flyers. I called them and said, hey, I went to the group and nobody put the information inside the group. It was supposed to be 25. It's 30 people in your group. And if each person put in 25 people from their list of individuals that they know that live in Atlanta who vote, which is everybody over 18, that's a big group. You can have the biggest group on the internet on voting, because everybody over 18 should be in it. There should be no age after 18. So you got from 18 all the way until, and until to 18 to the grave, right? Everybody should be there. And there should be no reason why people can't make it to the polls, right? Again, that's the guerrilla warfare. And so when he was like, "Well, where you at, brother?" I said, "What you mean where I'm at? I just gave the list that supports the community for people to vote to 800 people in the last 10 seconds. I just said click, 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 bloop. Everybody said got it. Bloop, 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 bloop. I'm good. How many flyers you passed out?" And there was silence on the phone. Silence. And to this day, they still trying to figure out how important is technology. That's the guerrilla warfare. In guerrilla warfare, you're fighting something that is larger than you. You're fighting an enemy that is larger than you. And so if you're fighting an enemy that's larger than you, and you have a certain amount of limited resources, why not apply the guerrilla warfare? When you're watching people going, oh, it went viral. Yeah, but it took timing to go viral. It didn't go viral, boom, just to go viral. Somebody had an algorithm or a timing that kept the pace. It kept the pace. And then when they finally had something that really hit their viewers, them viewers did some things. They liked it, they commented it, they shared it. Three things. Three: like, comment, share. You have to be able to do these things so many times a day. You just can't do it once and it goes viral. It doesn't work like that. You literally, hey, I'm giving away gems right now because we're talking about guerrilla warfare. You literally have to post 6 times a day. You got to be constant. This is why people doing it, that entertainment. One sister was saying, well, what are they getting? They when people are doing these TikToks and everything, they're getting attention. Yeah, but what they're really doing is building an algorithm while they get their attention. They get that forced sense of importance because of the likes. Oh, you like me, but nobody really knows you. You just entertained a bunch of people for a certain period of time until it took off. Guerrilla warfare. So now, what would it look like for a community trying to improve the community to actually go to the community and say, look, we need you to share this with family and friends who are not in the community, people who might think like you, or somebody you might want to touch with a deeper sense of self. You got to believe in guerrilla warfare. You got to. In Marcus Garvey's time, he said, I'm going to do whatever it takes for a black man and a black woman to see themselves in God. And there was no expense that he did take. To the point where we're going to have the biggest parade in the history of us being in this country. And still, I ain't never seen nothing bigger. Not done by black folks. The only thing that was, you come close, of course, is the Million Man March. That's it. And he was like, Farrakhan was like, look, we're going to get this done because it can be done. Now, the beautiful part of what we're trying to do as a community is once that happens, it stays connected via social media work. It stays connected. Now there's a piece to this that is deep when it comes to guerrilla warfare, because it's deeper than this. Utilizing the technology now, but what happens later? And let's we're gonna get into that in a few seconds. And that's why I said this. I could repurpose this conversation, and it actually works for us. So in the space of that perfect storm, timing, because everybody's home, technology, leadership. Sometimes the leadership is in you. For me, I sat down, and when I took a break, I said I come back. I said I got to come back harder. So that's why you have the 6 programs, 7, that I'm working on, that I'm delivering. I'm being focused, deliberate, because this is what God has called me to do. Now, there are things in my life that I do because I like doing it. And then there are things that I do because God has called me to do them. And those are the things I can't say no to. And this is one of the things that I can't say no to. I always, if the African speaks don't grow, at least somebody's going to get a word that is supposed to be able to use it. Oh, my man Mike, he put a like. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. One love. You know, and now inside this, and I got to make sure this, and we're going to go switch over to what happens when you actually can create something that goes viral. And we're going to do this. We're going to switch over, click here, and pause it. One of the things that, and when we created the mobile app, and this happens with the mobile app, this happens with videos, this happens this happens with everything, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all. The more you continue to be consistent, the more advertisers can believe in you. If you don't have a sense of consistency, advertisers can't believe that they can rely on what you're doing. Now we're talking about guerrilla warfare, right? So what happens when a community who's trying to uplift a community wants to create, and I did this, man, I tell you, I don't know how many times I talked to my community about this. Creating a youth program that is self-sustaining, meaning that you don't have to ask the parents for a dime. Each family can live on their own and take care of the struggles that they need to take care of, because we are utilizing technology. Again, this is it. People pay for this conversation. People pay for this conversation about technology. I could sell this. So this is going to be the first and last time that I actually do this. I did this in the privacy of my own community, and they loved it. I heard cheers, cries, everything. But then when it got to leadership, got silent, because it means sacrifices. That means I got to push the door of your own dream or your own vision on how you're going to do it. Well, you might be behind the 8 ball. You might be the past. You may not be the future, because you can't see the timing. You don't understand the technology. So you can't give leadership toward it. How you give leadership to something that you don't understand? One of the things that Marcus Garvey did wrong was put people in place that was wrong. There are people holding positions that don't need to be there when you're in a black community and you have this, and you don't have a minister of social media. Really? Somebody who sits down to try to understand it, learn it, take classes with it, and you don't have that? Really? It means something wrong with leadership. Unbridled. The African speaks. But in this, I gave the conversation that the more you do it, these individual companies will look for you. Let's say that again. Companies will look for you. When you can sit down and develop a level of consistency, and now you have your followers like, commenting, and sharing, subscribing, and adding interaction, that means what you have and what you produce is of value. Value. And so it creates a mathematical algorithm that says, if you have spoken to this person in the last 2 or 3 or 4 days and you like this, let me show them what you're doing to keep this going. How Facebook makes money is by keeping people in one place for a long period of time. And you might get pop-ups on the side of the screen. You might get a click here, click there. There's ways to do it. Now, these companies, even on YouTube, YouTube at one point wasn't, you didn't see as many commercials as you used to see. But now, when you go to somebody posting something that got a long stream, if you don't have a lot of followers, you may not get it. That means the companies don't see you. But Google reports your numbers to these major companies. How do you want sponsorship? Get numbers. And so the sad part about black people is we're getting numbers by doing dumb stuff. We ain't, and that's why white folks are not worried about anything that we're doing. And we can't get individuals who are conscious minded about the community to do something on a consistent basis and push social media marketing because they're in a place where they don't understand it. So you can't give leadership to something that you just don't understand. And then you call individuals who your buddies. This is the cronyism. When you got your buddies building something for you and you know your buddy really do, after your buddy just did something for you that didn't work, what is he going to blame it on? I'm blaming it on the fact that your buddy didn't know what he was talking about. And that's a hidden conversation. And we got that going on. But you got to know who to put where. And then be able to trust in the fact that, okay, this is, show me how did you come up with this and this and this. And that's easy. Why? Because it's out there. We have more access to information than has ever been given to us, but a lot of us are scared to use it. Google will pay you for your people. Why? Because they know that in a certain period of time, you're going to have a certain amount of people come across this information, and I can sell you toothpaste. I can sell stock market. You get the stock market that pops up on mine. People selling subscriptions to stock markets because I'm investing. I tell you about, I got you, I can tell you some stuff. I got some friends who got some friends who do real good. But this is what happens. This is how people have been striking it huge. And one love, Mike, I've been, and he can tell you, I've been trying to get him to focus on social media marketing for the last 7 years. Last 7 years. And look, we got a blessing coming, and I ain't gonna talk about it because that's up to him to talk because I'm under his leadership when it comes to the our comedy game. And right now, I'm gonna salute him because he's the master of the Quan. But what happens is when people can see your consistency via social media, these corporations are coming. Those numbers, those analytical numbers that you are able to generate produces information that Google can send to advertisers. And that's how Google is making their money. I'm going to put your product or your service or whatever it is into so many eyes. You pay me this when he drops another video, we're going to drop this. That's when you monetize your YouTube page. Or you're selling services off a Facebook page. Even if you're shooting the videos, you got comedians now developing full careers off of creating these skits. And all of a sudden, boom, 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 they got sponsorships because of the consistency in their numbers. That's different. You got now record deals. Record labels are not even signing artists who don't have a following. And so you got to generate that. They want to see you already polished. Why? Because we have more access to information, data, and technology to create a full product. That's what this is. That's what happens here. So when we're talking about guerrilla warfare, utilizing the technology to our advantage as a community to spread the conversation. Now, when I first did this, and I'm gonna drop this. Well, pause. Right. Our ad, and so y'all see AfriStream. AfriStream was done 7 years ago. This is how far ahead I was. So if y'all see me doing AfriStream now, and I'm gonna sit there, we're gonna flip that back. You see AfriStream to come up right here. 7 years ago was the concept. 7. And I found a scenario where, okay, let me do this now. Because what I did 7 years ago, I focused on, I cut off AfriStream because of the individuals I was working with, just like Marcus Garvey. I put the wrong people in the wrong place. And we came up with a great product, but they were not the right people to bring money to the table with. When the money started coming in, we got to deal with Amazon, and they changed. They were not the same people. I couldn't trust them no more. So I scrapped that and said I got to go back to my community, which is World of Akibaland. That was the birth of World of Akibaland. right? And so I birthed Worth the Keeper, and I said I'm working on that app. So the mobile app is, well, I told you we're gonna get to the future. Let's talk about now, right? So in that space, what I did again 7 years ago. Oh, we're gonna get back. We're going too far. It's going too far. Go back. Go back. Go back. All right. Pause. No, go back. So in that space with the mobile app, the way I said I was going to design it, of course, you saw it was a radio station. AfriStream was a radio station. We had every number one radio coming from the continent of Africa. So even areas, other African diasporic groups. So we had Jamaica. You know what I'm saying? We had Haiti. When after the and then why we came up with AfriStream to do it, that was after the tsunami. We was like, yo, Haiti couldn't talk to nobody. So that first tsunami that they hit, we went in the gear, and we started, and so was the first was the radio. So then I sat down and said, okay, so I want to build behind the mobile app. These are the different levels of it, which is the inspirationals, the educational training area. Then we wanted a document, a directory of black businesses that support the community. Then you have the education academic part, where we were building in these ads, and where people can talk, where we can have the black academia create the blogs. That's it. The blogs. So I was looking for the terminology. The blogs for information and growth and edification. Then the other thing was AfriStream Farming Project, because what we did, and this is real, and I don't know if it's still out there because my man was controlling that. What we created was agri. I say it was easy for me to say AfriStream Farming Project, but it was like a AgriStream, or it was like a agriculture streaming sense, where in Africa you don't know what market has fruits. If you take it to you walk to one market, and you get there and you got bananas, or you got potatoes, or you got whatever the fruit that you have, or a vegetable that you have, you get to the market and it's full. And so now you got to find somewhere to sell your food where it's not there, where you get most of the product. So what we did was create a Craigslist version, an African Craigslist farming version, where farmers could sit down and say, hey, you could talk to the market to find out what's at the market. Once you find out what's at the market, then you see how far the market is to where you are, and then you can talk to another person who might have a truck, because a lot of trucks, it wasn't driving out there in the in certain rural areas. So you can connect to a trucker, and he'd take you to the market that you wanted to sell your vegetables or your fruits are. And that was important, and that was big at that time. And then we said we were going to work on something where uh, it also worked in the United States, because we have these urban farms. So with these urban farms, you should be able to interact with the families and say, hey, crop is up. We have this with the price list, and said people show up, instead of having to, go find people. People will come find you if you understand technology. This is guerrilla warfare. We trying to live, not die. We trying to survive, not be taken out. You feel me? And so the spiritual energy you use when you approach computer technology is deeply important. I had a brother educate me one time in that scenario. What he told me was, he said, brother, every time, he said, then he had some kids, and I would go roller skating. I love roller skating, love to roller skate. And so he had new skates, and we didn't new skates, but he used skates. His kids had skates because they was renting one week. He had skates the other week. And I was like, oh, so you went out and got you some skates? He's like, I'm gonna tell you something. I got everything for free. I said, what? He said, I got it all for free, brother. I said, I got furniture, I got a car outside. I'm like, what? And so he had the ability to sit down and say, tell the universe what he needed. He said, I'm gonna tell the universe what I need, and I'm gonna hit Craigslist, and I'm gonna find somebody giving something away just because they gotta go. It's got to go. And that's real. You can find people saying, if you can get here, first person to get here, you can have it, because they're trying to move. And so he got his skates, he got toys, he got couches. They just trying to go. Get out. And so he said, understand, before you touch your keyboard, before you turn on your PC, he said, find the frequency that you need to be in. The state of gratitude, sense of humbleness. And he said, then tell the universe what you're looking for. Then touch your keyboard. It's all energy. I paused, and this was before I created AfriStream. We created AfriStream. It was before Worlds of a Keyblend. It was before the mobile app. It was before all of this. I paused. I said, really? Because at that time I had a yeah. Well, what was I at that time? Was that yeah, I was still doing nightclub promotions. Yeah, I was making that bread, but I was in the process of creating my own online TV show. Got this close. Man, we got this close to live streaming a reality show. They were going crazy. I had a street fashion magazine. It was crazy. Crazy when you sit down and but it was all for my own purposes, my own gain. And that didn't settle right with my spirituality. I said I need to chill and back up a little bit. And so broke off. Now, in terms of, again, because tonight we are discussing the revolution inside the revolution. And the part of the revolution inside the revolution is guerrilla warfare. And that guerrilla warfare is coming from understanding timing, technology, and leadership. Guerrilla warfare. Using the times that we're in, the technology that we have, and the leadership that God has placed in you. Because you got a vision. Leadership happens when you have an endpoint. It's not just because you want to lead. You got a vision of where you need to go. And a lot of people don't understand that, with what the African does, he keeps moving forward. Why? Because I'm not making something up. I wish I could have got it off my altar, because my program, I got the paperwork for it. I had the vision for it. I spend months sitting down, putting it down, and I sit on the altar. Every time I do my daily intentions, it's increasing this program. And that's real. And so you want to do that. Now, another thing, and we're gonna sit down. And I told you I could rock with this one. I said, and understand that the concept of guerrilla warfare came up after someone said they couldn't be on the show. I wouldn't be doing this one. We'd be doing something else. But guerrilla warfare is needed because we're in a battle. When you sit down and you got Black Lives Matter at the beginning of Corona we still fighting for the sense of injustice. We fighting for our humanity. We're still dealing with racism, systemic racism. But we're not utilizing the tools that we have, which is one, our first weapon is our spiritual awareness. Two, the technologies that we live in. We have to use these things. We have to. Because if we don't, we're going to find ourselves centuries down the road in the same place. But if we don't utilize what is given to us the same way those who have gone before have done, we're not going to be able to move anywhere. Guerrilla warfare was the Underground Railroad. What? That's guerrilla warfare. And you were at the edge of it. You was running your heart out. You used the terrain on your behalf. We used it. Fighting against an enemy that is larger than us. Slavery. Come on, talk about it. Creating a situation where you're going to use the environment with the leadership of everything that, of course, they connect the Underground Railroad to Queen Mother Harriet Tubman. One love. But it was a system. It was a system. And she kept going back using her guerrilla warfare. What is our guerrilla warfare of today if it's not learning technology and using it to our benefit? What is that? Not. Especially if you got these corporations willing to sit. Could you imagine the corporation funding your program? Where the families don't even have to worry about shelling out. They can actually live. They can live in this world where the economy is changing. So, and this is why, when we drop what we have coming for the Garvey games, y'all need to come running. Well, not need to. I got something that's gonna make a whole bunch of people come running. So y'all get ready for that. We're gonna continue pushing that out. But we got the leadership comes from within, and you have to fight for it. And we're in the middle of that. We're in the middle of that scenario. And so in that, what I did say, wait, let me get it right, is stop, go back. You'll wind up having global community support. Wow. Global community support. Now, in my church, they said we need to have an all church meeting and we need to talk about this because we need to help the community understand how to use social media marketing. We need to bring the old group together with the young group with the kids. We need to bring this as a one big pot. I said, now and again tonight, the only reason why I forced the conversation is because somebody, my guest didn't come in because I wasn't going to really do this one. But this is information they get. Now, what, and now, real talk, I can't say her name because she always asks me not to say her name, right? And I have a friend who's a multimillionaire who saw me on the internet. She's, and she said, "Do you understand that you're the next social media guru? What you do is the best that I've ever seen in this market." And she said, "If you can take," I said, "Well, it's different because if I do it for myself, you're right. I can make money for myself, but I've done that. I don't want to do that no more. I'm ready to see my people come up as a community, as a group, and as programs. It's important to me. That's important. So if I can find a way to get them to latch on, global community support, man, please." So that's when I started learning how to do the videos and everything else because I want to show you the development of a youth program. Of course, before Corona hit, you would have seen what we was doing for the Garvey games, the equipment we got. Woo! It's a beautiful thing to be able to have kids all over the city coming in together to have fun and then having platforms where you can teach them African history, teach them African spirituality, teach them technology. That's coming up. But you would have global community support. And then you got countries like Ghana who understands this global community support process and they're utilizing it. They're utilizing it. They're bringing black folk together in ways that Pan-African community haven't seen yet, which is a beautiful thing. And so one love to Ghana, and I'm looking at other Pan-African countries. That's what AfriStream is about. Pan-African countries making these same moves. Guerrilla warfare, bringing us together. Now, in that process, I'm gonna hit play. I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. Wait. Come on. What's the next one? And then, okay, that's it. So it stopped. All right, so now that's not be it. So we're gonna stop this. Stop. In that process, there is okay, I know where it's at. So we're gonna go here. So in that process, there's a scenario and a situation where it grows beyond the usage of Facebook. It grows beyond the usage of Google. It grows beyond everything. That's the future. So in that, when I moved away from the app, and we're talking about guerrilla warfare, there is a revolution inside the revolution. Black people have always been moving forward. One thing about this revolution, you're gonna say there's oppression inside, systematic oppression inside systematic oppression. White people clear, not white all. Sister, because I can't condemn a white individual. I can say systematic oppression is clear, and individuals who believe in systematic oppression is clear. We're using technology to show that black people are still oppressed. We can beat you, body slam your daughters, put into the dirt at a pool party. We can shoot you in the car while you're with your wife on social media marketing. What are you going to do as a community? Yeah, you're going to rise up for each independent situation, but as a community, you're not making no moves. That's an issue. That's an issue. That's what birthed Black Lives Matter in terms of what was happening to our youth. Everybody walking around with the Trayvon back in the day. That wasn't something new, because in my era, it was what's his name? God bless him. Got hit in the head in L.A. riots. And if somebody remember what it is, somebody remind me his name, right? And so that was on. It was on the news because we didn't have social media. But now they willing to show you us getting systematically oppressed. So now the issue is, can we utilize the same tool that they have to oppress us, or enjoy their entertainment? And then this is a conversation. We're going to talk about guerrilla warfare and how they use it, right? Before we get to this next one, because I want to talk about this one. This is all from the hip. When a cop or someone else shoots somebody and they get put off the force with no support from the union, out of nowhere they get hundreds of thousands of dollars for their legal fees. Where does that come from? Easy. Guerrilla warfare. They're using technology to make sure that they can hit everybody up. So if you got a million people who believe in systematic oppression, all you gotta do is ask the million people for $1. Then what happens? Guerrilla warfare. I should be selling this data because I gave this to my community. And I told them recently, you don't need young people. You just need every old person to reach out to a young person. If you got old, technology doesn't have an age, but there's a level of understanding you have to grab. And if you grab that level of understanding and use it, how many grandkids do you have? I want you to take a look at this, baby. All right, and I'm gonna call you every time, yada 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 yada. You develop that rites of passage and experience where you have individuals dealing with their own children, their own cousins, their own nephews. Yo, I want to talk to you about this. Can you take a look at this? Well, let's have a conversation. Share it with somebody. One love, Shakesha. She says I make sure I call my nieces and nephews and all my babies. Y'all gonna watch this. She don't play. That's when you care and you're using the guerrilla warfare. What? The technology that we have. We're using our terrain because we're fighting against something larger than us. I didn't even know I was going to be able to go this long with this conversation. Guerrilla warfare. So now in that space, I sat down and said, yeah, for me personally, I had to pull back. And as I pulled back, we're going to make sure that this volume is off. Mm, wait, stop. And we're going to go back. The development of the world of Akibaland was the first priority. Creating a structure for a youth program that can exist and that and more. So you see the things that are there, which tells individuals what we are here for, what we're doing. Social media entertainment, you know what I mean? We got entrepreneurship, fundraising platforms, live streaming, video archives. We have it all. And then okay, of course, family profiles. There was a lot of things that I was putting together where I was bringing, and then it went, honestly, no disrespect, it was flying over a lot of people's heads. A lot of people's heads. Why? Because again, they were in their box. They were in their own box, and that's okay. But the thing is, when the creator calls you to speak, do you stop? No, you just keep going until everybody catch up. Again, this is about 7 years old. The concepts are 7 years old because I had built the website. I even had the paperwork, and I had a presentation that I gave to the community. Said, this is where I'm going with this. This is the project. This is the vision. This is what I see. This is what I'll be working on from here on out until the creator calls me home, or until I can find a successor that says, you know what, I feel this as much as you do. Now, when you get to that point, more coming soon. More coming soon. That was Akibaland Arcadia. That's playerplayer.net. You can go look at it. That's the Garvey games, right? More coming soon. We talked about, if you see it up there, you see the Weekend Warrior up here. Up where am I? Where my hat? Oh, you can't. I can't do that. So it's up there. Weekend Warrior, where we were teaching and training kids to do what? Everything that the adults do. You feel me? So when you're talking about guerrilla warfare, you got to train the next generation. You got to build into the next generation. And not only the next generation, but you also, when things change in lives of your current life, you got to change your current people. If grandma, and I had a class before, I was teaching a computer class at Morris Brown before Morris Brown stopped being Morris Brown. And if your grandmother came to that class, because it was out to all the PhDs who had left and retired. So I was the tech teacher for retired PhDs to teach them what? Technology, bring them up to speed. I had individuals in the community, and I was a part of the cyber centers for the city, teaching technology for free. But now we want to pay for it. I had a man. I don't even talk about people that I know charging people to teach technology. How do you divide, create a, stop the digital divide if you're about to charge people for wisdom? Be ready what's coming because it's coming. When my class, I can't, and for me, I sat down and said, I can't, more to come. You see it in the corner. I can't start these cyber classes until I get the individuals to understand the spirit in which I need you to work with. This technology. I don't want you out there fighting for yourself. I need you to fight for us. So it's about first the African history class. Second, because I was doing it with World of Keyblade and it was working for a while, but I couldn't get the classes on the weekend. I couldn't, right? Not because I didn't want to do them. There's other issues. We can talk about that later, right? But then it's now, and so that way we'd have a generation. But I wanted to make sure that it's not just me, because if it's just me and something happens to me, we everybody back, we back at the same boat. But there's more to come. Where I developed the concept of the Black Cyber Generation. I'm gonna say it again, and we go keep going to that. All right, we'll pull this out again. This presentation was when I put this together and the concepts of this together. It was back in 2014. Ain't that something? And I'm still working on it. People don't understand. So why are you driven? Because I told you I felt the ancestors speaking to me, and I had to learn something new, and I've been fighting for it. And so galvanizing a greater Pan-African community, utilizing the fullest extent of modern technology. World of Akibaland. And that's just not just World of Akibaland, because that's should be every black institution if we're talking about guerrilla warfare. Establishing a global Akibaland academic institution, cyber centers, coding and gaming labs, 2014. So if somebody says something that's current, yeah, I wrote it up and submitted it in my community in 2014. Now before that, I had cyber centers written up, but it wasn't under the umbrella of World of Akibaland. I created the cyber labs. Wow, that was back in early 2002. I have it still sitting on my altar. The first thing I put together for teaching a community of all ages, all technology, upgrading our cyber community, cyber labs. I have it sitting on my altar, and it's been there since 2002. Yeah, I'm not just starting. It just took me when I got frustrated like everybody else. I left and did for me. But that's not what God has called us to do. I had to come back and do for us. Create a K through 12 online homeschooling curriculum. I did that in 2002. And I can name some names. If we had this all community meeting, and you ask me to name some names, give me some in here talking to somebody, and somebody say, I dare you to say, I'll say some names, but I'm not going to do it if I'm on the show by myself. But you get my family up in here, yeah, I'll tell everything. Everything. That was done in 2002. Creating an online curriculum. I went through the city. Do I still have that? And I'm looking. I have the hard drive with it on. Right? So I still have that. I don't have the plan. I have the hard drive. And I have a friend of mine who is in South Carolina, married with children. She was working and she was at Spelman and Who's Who. And she had helped me actually put it together. And I submitted it to my community, and it blew them out the door. This was way before our virtual village was even established. Blew them out the door to the point where I was told, you can't do this. Not because I didn't have the technological savvy, but because the person who read it was like, there's no way you can make this happen. There was somebody who knew not the God in me. Years later, the God in me exists. How that person feel? I don't know. I don't care. I care about the person, but not how they feel about what I'm doing. But there has been some mountains around me. And so what I do is you got to listen to God. This is guerrilla warfare. You don't stop a guerrilla from going to war. No, we use the jungle, and I kept using the jungle. Utilize mobile app technology for instant global pan-African community communication for education, entertainment, and news. Wow. Now everybody's on the internet, but nobody's utilizing technology to the fullest extent. And then if you're dealing with the issue of mobile apps, now I got to get these programs up before I go back and start redesigning mobile apps. Right? Because again, I'm doing community mobile apps. If I can galvanize a community Online, we're talking about guerrilla warfare. Then I can galvanize a community via on a mobile app. I'll go back to it. Guerrilla warfare. Here's the conversation, and it's at the end of this. And again, with World of Akiba Land, I talked about planting a better seed to get a better harvest. We are the black cyber generation. Imagine a generation who utilizes technology for the development of our communities globally. There's a revolution inside the revolution, and sometimes it's based off of technology. Older generations believe that they know what they're doing when they really don't. And then they got so many opinions, and their opinions don't mean or move anything because they don't have the vision of moving things forward. And then they don't speak to their own shortcomings. Why? Because you don't want to look like you don't know what you're talking about. But that's you don't have to. What happens is we just watch the growth of that community, and none of our communities are growing vastly, you know, in this era where we're changing black life, not just aiding us to live, not just doing those just to survive. Nobody wants it just to survive. Black folk need to, when we talk about all black everything, that's guerrilla warfare. That's you going up against a major uh, 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 major consumer mechanism, where we are no longer consumers for a society that continues to show that you ain't treating us right. Now, during the quadcentennial, we was easily say that we built this country, so we deserve it. But let's fight for what we built in ways that support who we are, because inside of a a black cyber generation, a Pan African cyber generation, that's just not in the United States. That's anywhere we are melanated. You slowly pull that together, and you got African governments now pushing out. Barbados just pushed out Great Britain as Queen Elizabeth as they head of state. No, we about to be an independent Republican nation. We want full control of everything. Ghana, full control of everything. They talking about Jamaica is in the process of removing her out of the state, diminishing the number of countries that she can control. The reason why they push Haiti, the way they push Haiti, because Haiti was the first black nation that fought off slavery. What? That's why they still hating on Haiti, and that's why they have it so hard. That's why we need to support them. But we need to create those communities that we say if we going over there and we sending money, that money goes to the supplies and the governments, and we got to get that corruption out of there. That's another first part. But that's our house. That's the house that we live in. But you put a black cyber generation together, who stops us? And in that black cyber generation, I'm going to speak this to existence because it has to happen. We have all of our engineers because we're going to need engineers. We're going to need engineers, we're going to need coders, we're going to need everything. Because we need to have our own Google. Yeah. We need to have our own OS so that we can have our own computers. We need our own cell phone services. We need to have our own towers. When y'all talk about all black everything, that's real. That's where this has to go. This has to get to a point where there is a choice. Like you can choose, like, well, really, I can't because uh Xfinity has a monopoly. So we're gonna need our own ISP, internet service providers. We're gonna need our own everything. And that's guerrilla warfare. That's technology. And if we can't see that, we were said that one of the things that we were building in our community is called power centers. Power centers are the anywhere the inner city is, there is high technology, and everybody in that can function within technology. There was a seasoned veteran of the liberation struggle said, well, where does that leave me? Because she knew nothing about technology. She didn't get the answer that she needed, but I'm going to tell her the answer, if she's listening, that she should have got. Technology has no age. And if you can take the time to learn something new, we can use you. Because this is a battle that we have to take. there is a revolution inside the revolution, and it takes starts with technology. There's always been a revolution inside the revolution. It's always been little pockets of pew, 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 pew. Since slavery, black people as a whole have been fighting to be respected on this planet as the way we should. We were the first ones to walk the earth. Everything comes from us. And it should be that way. But how do we get there now? Now we got a means to communicate, interact, and build with each other. What? You just got to find things that you believe in and pour your life into them. Find something you believe in and pour your life into it. Do not allow this technology to go to waste. Don't let your years go by and you understand that the technology that that we have created from the intuition. I said technology is African genius because we brought mathematics to the world. So technology is African genius. How do you not master the genius that comes from your own culture? Let's get it. Pythagorean theory did not come from Pythagorean. They were able to take the technology of math that we gave and grow it. And so why not take it back and use it? Guerrilla warfare. When we started building AfriStream, my boy was like, and I need to reach out to him, see how he's doing. My brother was like, Brian, he's from Zimbabwe, one love. He said, big brother, we're going to need to go get towers. We're going to have to build our own server. We're going to have our own database center. We're going to have our own this, own, and it, because he could see the future. He could see the future. He said, we're going to have to slowly build this. There's a revolution inside the revolution. Inside the revolution. Inside the revolution. Are you going to be a part of it? Are you going to participate in it? If you are, the first way to do it, one, is where we at. First way to do it is like, comment, and share. Second way to do it, subscribe. Hit the bell, notifications, watch. The other way, find a program you believe in. And I hope is World of Akibaland. And donate. Go to WAATL.org, scroll down, and you see the donate button. This is what we do. So this conversation came about when somebody didn't make it onto the show. I gave some information in terms of the importance of technology in the movement of the black community. We need classes, we need structures, and we are building them. I've had invited individuals to come and talk about the programs that they're building, their revolutions inside the revolution, to share to everybody. So it's out here and people can find something to believe in. I'm going to continue speaking, and I'm going to continue building, I'm going to continue growing. And so if you are ready to help this African speak, and sometimes what we're talking about is not words. Sometimes it's these programs, it's these actions, it's what we do. I speak in more than just conversation. We build. I'm about to call this program, get these Garvey games up and running. I'm trying to have this national tournament, if not international tournament, sometime this Christmas if this thing work out right. So y'all get ready for that. I want to bless 501c3s in ways that you have never seen. Do you need $20,000 over a weekend? I'm going to show you how to get it. Yeah. Program coming. We already have the infrastructure needed. And that's another thing. You can't do guerrilla warfare without infrastructure. You cannot do guerrilla warfare in terms of technology. You ain't moving nothing in today's world without infrastructure. The technology we need to create this guerrilla warfare to move our missions forward, you got to be a part of it. You got to get it. Or you not a revolution inside the revolution. You just here. Think about it. So if you ready, I ask you, let the African in you speak. Have I call it an out of pocket experience. Like, comment, share, subscribe, tell a friend. I'll be back next Monday at 7. I might start doing it even more if I can get these. I told everybody, look, if I'm ready to talk about what God has you doing. And so if that's what you look, come on, let's go. Let's talk. Let's have these conversations. Let's build these communities. Let's grow. Let the African in you speak.